Hello and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson. I'm channeling the man in the moon today. I'm just going to take a look at some simple future stuff and just see what comes up. I got no plan. Let's see what Spirit has to show us. I'll just start out by saying it's kind of like rainy here. And I mean, it's really rainy, but even in my vision, it's almost like a storm clouds are floating above. There's Trump sort of floating around. Who knows what that means? Let's see. It's an interesting in that it's like he's trying to be Zeus. He's trying to be powerful. He's trying to do these things, but it's just like it's like a static electricity as opposed to lightning bolts. And he keeps looking skyward, like he's worried, like TikTok. I got to do this really fast. Oh God, yeah, oh God, yeah. It really is like like he's aware of his exit and he's trying to do something before his exit. That's the feeling that I get. Remember, I've asked the universe not to tell me when people die. I can see when they have a demise, though. All right, universe. So you can let me know. Now I'm seeing Trump talking to certain characters, like political figures, and he's trying to make a deal with China, I think. He's trying to make a deal with Russia, and they're just, sure, sure, we'll make a deal with you. But, this is the best case scenario for those two nations, that we would be wasting, again, our money on war. It just, honestly, it feels like American decline. And they didn't have to do anything. Russia and China, they didn't have to do anything, right? They just sit there and let, uh, America go nuts. So let's see what's going on there. Yeah, there are big bombs that people are thinking over. Yeah, and that seems to be the big question. Will Netanyahu use bigger weapons? Are you going to do it or not, Bibi? I don't think it's decided yet, but he's certainly thinking about it. He realizes that the consequences will be everybody hates Israel and everybody hates him, and that even Israelis might take him out. And that's what's slowing him down. That's what's making him, maybe this wouldn't be a good idea. And besides, Netanyahu still has the upper hand. He's still got lots of blackmail material, from what I'm seeing, on a lot of Americans. So they're doing what he wants now. It might be that if he pushes it too far and presses the button, then all that'll be lost. That'll be too much outrage, too much shift, too much energy in regard to this. So I'm getting the feeling he probably won't do it because this is his end. Now, the situation would be different if he was facing certain death, then he might not care. But it does seem a little bit like he won't at this moment. I'm looking at the Middle East in general, seeing people making plans. And it just, people aren't really thinking about the long-term effects of this. I mean, in 1956, Americans killed their leader, Russia, Iran's leader, and then, 25 years later, I guess it was 20 years later, they took the hostages. You know, people are very capable of making long-term plans. And that's really what we should be worried about is the situation, in the future in the Middle East. Some presidents will not be around in 20 years, right? So they don't care, but that's what we care about. And I gotta say, it's interesting. I see more restraint from some Middle Eastern countries than I do in us in the United States. It's, you know, the ethics of this are pretty contradictory. All right, so is there anything else we want to find out here? I do get the feeling, I do see that Netanyahu is disappointed at some portion. He is disappointed. He does not get what he wants. And it's a political problem for him that he's gone this far, but not achieved the success that he is after. Okay, and finally, I do want to add here, don't, I'm not going to blame any religious group, any group of people. In all nations, there are those who are innocent, who have nothing to do with these foolish wars. And it does not matter what religion they are part of, they were born in a particular place, and that is not their fault. So let us remember, wherever people are, they are good people, and there are those who would manipulate us in every nation. Say a prayer for the innocent. Now let us go to some other topic. What else? Okay, I'm getting back to the United States, political situations. There's people pulling strings, making complicated, very mischievous sort of plans. That's what I'm seeing. There are certain people within the institution of the United States that, the government, that are making plans to, I mean, what it looks like is fix the vote. Okay, I'm seeing one route. It looks like it's going to Georgia, but Trump is a bit frustrated there. So it's like he didn't get the plans enacted that he wanted. And this is mostly because of exposure. So the more we expose the truth, the more that we show the truth, the better it will be just for our election. It's a question of knowing and being aware. Obviously, there will need to be actions following that up, but the awareness is a key here. Now that we know what Trump was trying to do in Georgia, then we can prevent him from manipulating that vote. And that will succeed. It's an action that we have to do, but it will succeed. I honestly think that this is the Democrats' fault, in a sense. I should say this is Al Gore's fault, right? He should not have let the Supreme Court decide the presidency. That's not part of our Constitution. So now we're paying for Al Gore's, frankly, wimpness. And that's the bright side. We have to learn to defend ourselves from bullies. We all have to learn to do that in life. Somehow the Democratic Party thought they didn't have to do that. That everybody would just be nice and democratic. And we're realizing now that they're not nice and they're not democratic. There's other things going. Something's going on in Texas where they're really going to try to manipulate the numbers there. There's a sort of desperation that when people lose power, they might be prosecuted. So they're not just wanting their power, they're desperate for their power because otherwise they could go to jail, could remain unemployable for the rest of their lives. This is about their positions in society. So there are people doing fairly desperate actions. Now, that's good news in some sense. It means that they are on the run. So, all right. And I'm just going to take a look at Epstein Files just because somehow that magically left the news cycle for a lot of people. Wonder how that happened. I'm seeing light. I'm seeing light on the files. I think in a good sense that they will not go away. Maybe they're out of the news temporarily, but they're not going to go away. People are going to get in trouble still. I see like literally lights on these files. So right now, certain people have control of what can be seen, and even now, stuff is still getting out. But they're still putting stuff out because they know they're going to get exposed anyway. They're just trying to do it when everybody's busy. But it's not going to go away even in 2 years. They'll still be looking through those files. It will be an issue at the time of voting. I suggest Democrats just focus on this and other, just basic issues, because it's not something that they can argue for. Right, so anything more about the files? I do see politicians really desperate to hide them, and Lindsey Graham shows up, and he might just be symbolic of Republicans that want to hide bad stuff about other Republicans. So I don't know if it's him specifically, but he shows up as, again, just like sort of going crazy to stop what's in there or delay what's in there. Yeah, there are others. Peter Thiel really wants to stop it. It's interesting that some of the people who are mentioned, Trump did release the names of certain people, and they were just expendable. Like he doesn't care about you know whoever at Microsoft. He doesn't care about Bill Gates. He doesn't care about certain people. And they can lose their reputations. But there are some people who are very, very, very much having their identity suppressed. And you can imagine that there's a lot of money there. So, in other words, if I agree to repress anything that covers rich, powerful people, guess who's going to vote for me, right? The rich, powerful people are going to give me all the money they can to make sure me and my party stay in power. And that is what is going on there. Fortunately, there are independent journalists and actually even foreign countries that have information on this. The other thing is this escape into war, the strategy of changing the page. It's not helping. It's just another problem for the Trump administration. This is almost like problem three. And problem two is the inflation that's going to get a lot worse, right? I think we might want to take one look at that. Yeah, I see it rising and falling, and very much peaking and falling, according to world events. So the more we fiddle around in the Middle East, the worse it's going to get. But it also is like Trump says we're going forward, prices rage. Trump says we're not, prices decline. Then the next day they increase because people figure out that he's not telling the truth. Yeah, you're really intelligent for figuring that out. But let's go up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just going to go like in a zigzag function. And it's almost worse. It's almost like, the prices are going down, so I feel comfortable buying things. But then tomorrow they go up, and my plans are ruined. It's a very bad, it's not even a predictable inflation because it goes up and down from what I am seeing based on a whim. And it just like, when it's going down, it's not going all the way down. It's just going down a bit and then it goes up. And I imagine this is partly oil. It's just based on oil. People need to transport things. So hopeful messages, Spirit, what should people do? You have to find strength within yourself, and certain people, find your community and commune, because this, if your happiness is attached to external experiences, it's just going to be a roller coaster ride for the next, several years. Find happiness within yourself and solutions within yourself. It's just, you got to cut out the noise. And if you cut out the noise, you can come back to, what you are happy about, the relationships, So there's some connections you can absolutely control. You can control your own ethical behavior. It's also helpful, I think, just to register yourself as a person who is existing now for a reason, right? You are here for a reason, if only to observe, if only to, give a few kind words to someone, if only to help with the solidarity, if only to, film the ICE people doing whatever they're doing so that there is a witness. And bravo to all those people who are doing that, these brave people who are holding up our Constitution. Great. Thanks so much for watching.